Hello, happy Friday. Okay, I am reading the next chapter of the Ickabog. I think it's funny because I'm wearing my blanket where you can see my face. So I'm staring at you here and I'm staring at you here. Okay, this is the last video, hopefully, because I'm coming back on Monday. So excited. We're going to finish Ickabog in person. Yay! I can't wait to see you guys. Ms. Sagano said you're excited to have me back. I am also super excited to be back. So I am very ready to see you guys. Okay, so let's get started. We are on chapter 51. It's called Inside the Cave. So if you remember, 2 days ago when we were reading, the Ickabog picked up Roderick, Martha, Bert, and Daisy and carried them into the cave. Now we are inside the cave. Okay, so chapter 51. Some hours later, Daisy woke up, but at first she didn't open her eyes. She couldn't remember being this cozy since childhood, when she'd slept beneath a patchwork quilt stitched by her mother and woken every winter morning to the sound of a fire crackling in her grate. She could hear the fire crackling now and smell venison pies heating in the oven, so she knew she must be dreaming that she was back at home with both of her parents. But the sound of flames and the smell of pie were so real that it occurred to Daisy that instead of dreaming, she might be in heaven. Perhaps she'd frozen to death on the edge of the marsh. Without moving her body, she opened her eyes and saw a flickering fire in the rough-hewn walls of what seemed to be a very large cavern. And she realized she and her 3 companions were laying in a large nest of what seemed to be unspun sheep's wool. There was a gigantic rock beside the fire, which was covered with long greenish-brown marshweed. Daisy gazed at this rock until her eyes became accustomed to the semi-darkness. Only then did she realize that the rock, which was as tall as 2 horses on top of each other, was looking back at her. Even though the old stories said the Ickabog looked like a dragon, or a serpent, or a drifting ghoul, Daisy knew that once that this was the real thing. In panic, she closed her eyes again, reached out a hand through the soft mass of sheep's wool, found one of the other's backs, and poked it. "What?" whispered Bert. "Have you seen it?" whispered Daisy, eyes still tightly shut. "Yes," breathed Bert. "Don't look at it." "I'm not," said Daisy. "I told you there was an Ickabog," came Martha's terrified whisper. "I think it's cooking pies," whispered Roderick. All 4 lay quite still, with their eyes closed. Oh my goodness, Gus is literally right. Gus, stop. Gus, okay, sorry, okay. It's cooking pies. All 4 lay quite still with their eyes closed until the smell of venison pie became so deliciously overpowering that each of them felt it would almost be worth dying to jump up, snatch a pie, and maybe wolf down a few mouthfuls before the Ickabog could kill them. Then they heard the monster moving. Its long, coarse hair rustled and its heavy feet made loud, muffled thumps. There was a clunk, as though the monster had laid down something heavy. Then a low, booming voice said, "Eat them." All 4 opened their eyes. You might think the fact that the Ickabog could speak their language would be a huge shock, but they were already so stunned that the monster was real, that it knew how to make fires, and that it was cooking venison pies that they barely stopped to consider that point. The Ickabog had placed a rough-hewn wooden platter of pies beside them on the floor, and they realized it must have taken them from the frozen stock of food on the abandoned wagon. Slowly and cautiously, the 4 friends moved into sitting positions, staring up into the large, mournful eyes of the Ickabog, which peered at them through the tangle of long, coarse, greenish hair that covered it from head to foot. Roughly shaped like a person, it had an enormous belly, huge, shaggy paws, each of which had a single, sharp claw. "What do you want with us?" asked Bert bravely. In its deep, booming voice, the Ickabog replied, "I'm going to eat you, but not yet." The Ickabog turned, picked up a pair of baskets, which were woven from strips of bark, and walked away to the mouth of the cave. Then, as though a sudden thought had struck it, the Ickabog turned back to them and said, "Roar." It didn't actually roar. It really just said the word. The 4 humans stared at the Ickabog, which blinked, and then turned around and walked out of the cave, a basket in each paw. Then a boulder as large as the cave mouth rumbled its way across the entrance to keep the prisoners inside. They listened as the Ickabog's footsteps crunched through the snow outside and died away. Okay, so, yay, we're getting through it. Okay, I just realized as I was reading that this is Thursday, not Friday, because we aren't going to have read aloud on Friday. So I want to make sure that we get this last chapter in before I come back. So I'm changing my plans to not have read aloud on Thursday to actually have read aloud on Thursday. So at the beginning of this video, it was Friday, and now it is Thursday. So, okay, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day so far. You're either watching this right before or after Mass. If you are watching it before, please pray for me, especially that I can come back healthy on Monday. I'm feeling a lot better, so I am thankful for all of your prayers. Also, I won't talk to you before you go on your shadow day tomorrow to the middle school, so I'm praying for you guys. If you're nervous, I totally understand, but I want you guys to be excited because you are almost 6th graders, which is very crazy. It's going to be super fun, and you guys get to stick together, which is a lot easier than if you were just going by yourselves to a brand new school and shadowing there, which is what I had to do for high school, not for middle school. Anyway, so you're gonna have fun, you're gonna meet the teachers, super sweet. I will tell you Mrs. Button is my confirmation sponsor, so if you see Mrs. Button, you'll have to tell her that she is my confirmation sponsor. Okay, awesome. I hope you guys have a great time. I love you all, I miss you all, and I am going to see you on Monday. I'm so excited. Okay, goodbye.